I never thought I'd be standing in front of 300 people, about to destroy my own son. But when your child tries to kill you for money he gambled away, when he puts a gun to your grandbaby's head to pay off loan sharks, when he plans to steal from the church that raised him, you do what you have to do. My name is Loretta Mae Washington. I'm 68 years old. And this is the story of how my son fell so far that the only way to save him was to let him fall completely. It started on a Sunday morning, like most terrible things in the South do. September 24, 2023. Sunlight pouring through stained glass windows that had been there since 1952. Painting the sanctuary floor in reds and blues and golds. The choir warming up in the back. I could hear Sister Marlene's alto rising above the others, steady and sure, like it had been for 30 years. Brother James setting out the hymnals, making sure each one was aligned just right because he believed God noticed details like that. First Baptist Church on Martin Luther King Boulevard had been my home for 40 years. 40 years. I joined when I was 28, fresh from Birmingham, with a nursing degree and a baby on my hip. That baby was Marcus, and he grew up in these pews. Learned to walk holding onto the edge of that back pew right there. Said his first clear sentence during vacation Bible school, Jesus loves me, and I cried like he'd discovered the cure for cancer. The church raised him as much as I did. When his daddy William died in that warehouse fire, Marcus was only 16. It was this congregation that held us up. Deacon Patterson paid our mortgage for 6 months. Sister Ruth brought dinner every Tuesday for a year. Pastor Williams sat with Marcus every Saturday morning, teaching him what it meant to be a man of God when his own father couldn't anymore. This place saved us, and now my son was trying to rob it. But I'm getting ahead of myself again. Let me slow down. Let me take you back to when Marcus was still good, so you understand what we lost. I can still see it clear as yesterday. Marcus standing at the podium in a navy suit. I'd helped him pick out at Dillard's, his wife Chloe in the front row holding 2-year-old Lily. The morning sun coming through the east windows, lighting him up like he was already halfway to heaven. I want to talk about sacrifice, he began, and his voice had that preacher's cadence he'd learned from Pastor Williams. My mother worked 3 jobs to put me through college. Before some of you even had your first cup of coffee, Mama was already at Orlando Regional, starting her nursing shift at 5 a.m. She'd work until 2, come home and change into her Food Lion uniform. Work the register until 10. Then come home and do medical billing on the computer until midnight. He paused, and I saw his throat work like he was swallowing tears. I asked her once, Mama, when do you sleep? You know what she said? She said, I'll sleep when you graduate. I'll sleep when you're set up right. I'll sleep when I know you're gonna be okay. The congregation murmured. I felt Sister Marlene squeeze my hand. Well, Mama, Marcus looked right at me, eyes shining. I graduated summa cum laude. Got my master's in theology. I'm serving this church, serving God, serving my family. You can sleep now. You did it. You raised a man who knows right from wrong. Who knows what sacrifice looks like because you showed me every single day. He came down from that pulpit and hugged me in front of everybody. And I sobbed into his shoulder like a child. The whole church was crying. Even the men were dabbing their eyes with their handkerchiefs. That was 3 months before he placed his first bet. The call came at 2:47 am on a Tuesday. I know because I looked at the clock, heart already pounding before I even picked up the phone. Nothing good happens at 2:47 in the morning. Mrs. Washington? A woman's voice, professional but strained. This is Nurse Claudette from Orlando Regional. You've been in an accident. The room tilted. An accident? A car accident, ma'am. You're in the ICU. You were unconscious when they brought you in, but you're awake now. Do you remember what happened? I tried to think through the fog in my head. Driving. I'd been driving home from Birmingham. From Aunt Margaret's funeral. It was dark. I was on I-4. I pressed the brake pedal and nothing. The pedal went straight to the floor like it wasn't connected to anything. The car in front of me getting closer, closer, me pumping the brake, screaming. Then the impact and the world turning into a kaleidoscope of metal and glass. The brakes, I whispered. They didn't work. The police are investigating. Your car was towed to impound. Right now, we need to focus on you. You have a fractured left radius, 3 broken ribs, and a grade 2 concussion. You're very lucky, Mrs. Washington. It could have been much worse. Lucky. I didn't feel lucky. I felt like I'd been hit by a train. Did you call my son? Marcus Hart? There was a pause. The kind of pause that makes your stomach drop. We did call him, yes. He's listed as your emergency contact. Is he here? Another pause, longer this time. No, ma'am, he said. He said he was busy. Asked if you were conscious yet. Something cold slithered down my spine. And, we told him you weren't awake yet? Then he asked. Nurse Claudette's voice got quieter, like she didn't want to say it. He asked who your beneficiaries were. If you had a will. What would happen to your assets if your condition worsened? The hospital room was suddenly too bright, too white, too cold. My son hadn't asked if I was okay. Hadn't asked what my injuries were. If I needed blood, if I was going to make it. He'd asked about money. Mrs. Washington, are you all right? I'm fine. I said automatically, though I felt like I was drowning. Thank you for calling. I hung up and stared at the ceiling tiles, counting the little holes in each one. Trying to make sense of what I'd just heard. Because it had to be a misunderstanding, right? My Marcus, my baby. The boy who cried when I got a paper cut, wouldn't. He couldn't. But then I remembered something. 3 weeks ago, Marcus had stopped by the house unannounced. Said he just wanted to check on me. Make sure I was eating right, maybe change my oil while he was there. I'd been so happy to see him I didn't question it. Didn't wonder why he spent 45 minutes under my car. When an oil change only takes 20. Didn't notice the grease on his hands was a different color than motor oil. The brake fluid. He'd cut the brake lines. My own son had tried to kill me. I threw up then, right there in the hospital bed. The machines started beeping and nurses rushed in. But I couldn't stop heaving, couldn't stop my body trying to reject this new reality I'd just swallowed. Marcus never came. Not once in 6 days. Chloe texted on day 3, hope you're feeling better. Can you watch Lily next weekend? We have that work thing. I stared at that message for 20 minutes. Not, how are you? Not, do you need anything? Not, we're so sorry we haven't visited. Just straight to asking me to babysit. I texted back still in the hospital. Not sure when I'll be released. Her response, oh, well let us know. That was it. No follow-up, no flowers, no card. Sister Marlene from church came every day. Brought me Tupperware containers of her famous chicken. And dumplings that I couldn't eat because my ribs hurt too much to swallow. Deacon Patterson stopped by with his wife. Prayed over me, left a card with $500 cash tucked inside, for whatever you need, Sister Loretta. The church family showed up. My actual family didn't. On day 4, they moved me out of ICU into a regular room. I had a roommate, an elderly white woman named Dorothy who'd had hip surgery. Her family came every visiting. Our children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. They'd bring balloons and magazines and laugh. So loud the nurses had to shush them. I watched them through the curtain and felt something inside me wither. That's what family was supposed to look like. That's what I'd thought I had. On day 5, the police came. 2 detectives, 1 black woman about 40. 1 white man who looked like he was counting the days to retirement. Mrs. Washington, I'm Detective Cole, this is Detective Morrison. We've been investigating your accident. I sat up straighter, ignoring the pain shooting through my ribs. Did you find something? Detective Cole pulled out a tablet, swiped to a photo. Your brake lines. They didn't fail naturally. Someone cut them. See this clean edge right here? That's not wear and tear. That's deliberate. The room tilted again. Hearing it confirmed out loud made it real in a way it hadn't been before. Do you have any idea who might want to hurt you? Detective Morrison asked, pen poised over his notebook. I opened my mouth, closed it, opened it again. How do you tell the police that your own son is trying to murder you? What if I was wrong? What if it was a coincidence? Some random person with a grudge? What if, Mrs. Washington? Detective Cole leaned forward, her dark eyes kind but sharp. If you know something, you need to tell us. This was attempted murder. If they tried once, they'll likely try again. I don't know, I heard myself say. I can't think of anyone. It was a lie, my first lie to the police. But I couldn't say it, couldn't make those words real. Not yet, not until I was sure. After they left, I called Marcus. He answered on the fifth ring, sounding annoyed. Yeah, Ma? Marcus, I'm in the hospital. I know. They called me 6 days ago. Silence. Marcus, I almost died. But you didn't. His voice was flat, emotionless. You're fine. I have 3 broken ribs and a fractured arm. The police said someone cut my brake lines. I waited for shock, for horror, for my son to say, "Oh my God, Mama, who would do that? I'm coming right now." Instead, "That's crazy. Probably some kids messing around. Look, Ma, I gotta go. Chloe's calling me." He hung up. I sat there holding the dead phone, and that's when I knew for certain. That's when the last little bit of doubt crumbled away like ash. My son had tried to kill me. And he felt nothing about it. They discharged me on day 7. Sister Marlene drove me home, helped me up the steps to my little house on Jackson Street. Made sure I had groceries and my prescriptions. She fussed over me like a mother hen until I finally had to shoo her away, promising I'd call if I needed anything. After she left, I sat in my living room and looked around at 40 years of life. The photos on the mantle: Marcus as a baby, Marcus at his college graduation, Marcus and Chloe's wedding, the cross-stitch sampler I'd made that said, "As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord." The worn spot on the carpet where William used to pace when he was thinking. This house held so many memories, so much love. How had it all gone so wrong? My phone buzzed. A text from a number I didn't recognize. "Mrs. Washington, this is Andrew Doyle, your Aunt Margaret's attorney. My condolences on your accident. When you're feeling up to it, please call to schedule an appointment. There are matters regarding Margaret's estate that require your immediate attention." I'd completely forgotten about the funeral. About Margaret. The accident had wiped everything else from my mind. I called the next morning. Mr. Doyle's secretary scheduled me for Friday at 2 p.m. "What's this about?" I asked. "Mr. Doyle will explain everything. But Mrs. Washington, you'll want to bring identification. And be prepared to stay for at least an hour. There's quite a bit to go over." Mr. Doyle's office was in one of those old downtown Orlando buildings, with marble floors and brass fixtures, the kind of place that smelled like furniture polish and important documents. His secretary, a tiny Filipino woman who couldn't have been more than 5 feet tall, led me down a hallway lined with dark wood paneling and oil paintings of stern-looking white men. Mr. Doyle himself was about 70, with a full head of silver hair and wire-rimmed glasses. He stood when I entered, came around the desk to shake my hand with both of his. "Mrs. Washington, Loretta, I'm so glad you're all right. Margaret thought the world of you. She'd be devastated to know what happened." He gestured to a leather chair. I sat, my ribs protesting every movement. "Can I get you anything? Water? Coffee?" "I'm fine, thank you." He returned to his desk, opened a thick folder. "I'll get right to it. Your Aunt Margaret was a remarkable woman. Very private, very careful with her finances. Most people, including much of your family, didn't know the full extent of her holdings." He slid a paper across the desk. I looked down at it, saw numbers that didn't make sense. "Too many zeros. This can't be right," I said. "It's quite right. Margaret owned 3 rental properties in Birmingham, 2 in Atlanta. She had a stock portfolio that she'd been building since 1975. Municipal bonds, life insurance with you as the sole beneficiary. When you add it all up," he pointed to the bottom line, $4,227,000. The room went fuzzy at the edges. $4 million $4 million. I worked with her at the hospital. She drove an old car. Lived in that tiny house. She was extraordinarily frugal, Mr. Doyle said gently. Wore the same coat for 20 years. Clipped coupons. Bought generic everything. But she invested wisely and lived long enough to see it grow. And she wanted you to have it. You're her only living relative." I couldn't breathe. Couldn't think. Couldn't process that I, Loretta Mae Washington, who'd never made more than $35,000 in a year, who'd raised a child on food stamps and prayer, was suddenly a millionaire 4 times over. "There's one more thing, Mr. Doyle continued. The building fund at First Baptist Church. Margaret donated the initial $100,000 15 years ago to start it. She had you listed as the primary signatory and trustee. The fund has grown to $1,847,000. Technically, it's in your name, though obviously it's designated for church use. But legally, you have full control. $6 million. Total. $6 million. I swallowed hard. I need some time to think. Of course. But Mrs. Washington, I do need you to sign some preliminary paperwork today. Transfer of title for the properties, beneficiary forms for the accounts. It's all standard. My secretary can walk you through it. I signed papers for 2 hours, my hand cramping, my head spinning. When I finally walked out of that office, I felt like I'd entered someone else's life. My phone buzzed before I even made it to my car. Marcus. Hey Ma, you feeling better? I stared at the screen. 6 days of silence after my accident. And suddenly he's checking in the day after I meet with Margaret's lawyer. Coincidence? I'm okay. Sore but healing. 3 dots appeared immediately. He was typing something long. That's good. Hey, random question, did Aunt Margaret leave you anything? I know. You guys were close. There it was. The real reason for his sudden concern. I sat in my car in that parking garage and felt something inside me turn to ice. To stone. To steel. Just some family photos and her old china. Nothing valuable. Oh, a pause, then that's it? No money or anything? No baby. Why? Just asking. You know how old people sometimes have stuff hidden away. Thought maybe she left you a little something. Afraid not. Damn. I mean, that's fine. Just thought it might help with your medical bills and stuff. I read that message 3 times. He thought it might help with my medical bills. My son, who hadn't visited me once in the hospital, who'd tried to murder me for money, he thought I didn't even have, was suddenly worried about my medical bills. I typed back, don't worry about me. The church is helping out. His response came fast, the church? What do you mean? Pastor said they have a fund for members in need. They're going to cover my deductible. Another pause, longer this time. Then that's nice of them. How much is in that fund? My fingers hovered over the keyboard. He was fishing, testing, trying to figure out if there was money anywhere he could access. I don't know, honey. I don't handle the church finances. A lie. I was on the finance committee. I knew every penny that came in and out. But he didn't need to know that. Oh, okay. Well, feel better, Ma. Love you too. Another lie. Because how could I love someone who was trying to kill me? Or maybe the love was still there, buried under layers of fear and betrayal and this new, terrible knowledge. I sat in that parking garage for another 20 minutes, engine running, AC blasting, trying to figure out what to do. I could go to the police. Tell them about Marcus, about my suspicions, show them the texts. But what if I was wrong? What if it really was random vandalism, and I destroyed my relationship with my son over nothing? Except it wasn't nothing. The brake lines were cut. He'd asked about beneficiaries before asking if I was okay. He was fishing for information about money. Less than 2 weeks after trying to kill me. I needed proof. Real, undeniable proof. Not suspicion. Not gut feelings. Evidence. I pulled out my phone and Googled, Private Investigator, Orlando, Florida. Robert Kane, Private Investigator. His office was in a strip mall between a nail salon and a tax preparation service. Not impressive, but the reviews were good. Discreet, thorough, gets results. Robert Kane was in his mid-50s. Black, with gray at his temples and the kind of quiet competence that put people at ease. His handshake was firm, his office neat but not fussy. Framed licenses on the wall. A photo of 2 teenage girls, probably his daughters. Mrs. Washington, please, have a seat. Can I get you some water? I'm fine, thank you. He settled behind his desk, pulled out a yellow legal pad. On the phone you said you needed someone investigated. Can you tell me more? I took a breath. My son, I think he tried to kill me. To his credit, Robert didn't even blink. Just nodded, wrote something down. What makes you think that? I told him everything. The accident, the brake lines, the hospital calls, the texts about money. When I finished, he was quiet for a moment, studying his notes. And you haven't gone to the police? They asked if I knew who might want to hurt me. I said no. Why? Because he's my son. My voice cracked. Because what if I'm wrong? What if I accuse him and it destroys our relationship? And it turns out I'm just a paranoid old woman? Robert leaned back in his chair. Mrs. Washington, brake lines don't cut themselves. Someone did that deliberately. And if your own son is asking about inheritances, before asking about your health. He paused. Let me ask you something. Has Marcus had any financial troubles lately? I don't know. He works for a property management company. Chloe works part-time at a dental office. They seem fine. Kids? One daughter. Lily. She's 12. Any drug use? Gambling? Expensive habits? I shook my head. Marcus has always been responsible. Good with money. I stopped. Thought back. Over the past year, there'd been little things. Marcus borrowing $500 here, $300 there. Always with a good reason. Lily needed braces, car repairs, Chloe's medical bills. I'd given it to him every time, never asking for it back. He's been borrowing money, I said slowly. Small amounts. A few hundred at a time. Robert wrote that down. How often? Maybe once a month? For the past year or so? That's not small amounts, Mrs. Washington. That's $3,000 to $5,000 a year. For someone with a steady job and a working wife, that's a red flag. He tapped his pen on the pad. I'd like to run a background check. Credit report, public records, see if there's anything you don't know about. I'll also do surveillance. See what his daily routine looks like, who he's meeting with. If he's in trouble, it'll show. How much will this cost? My rate is $100 an hour plus expenses. For what you're describing, probably $2,000 to $3,000 for a week's worth of work. If you want to continue after that, we can discuss it. $3,000. Before the inheritance, that would have been impossible. Now, do it, I said. Robert called 3 days later. Can you come to the office? He had papers spread across his desk when I arrived. Credit reports, bank statements he'd somehow obtained, printouts from websites I'd never heard of. Your son is in serious trouble, he said without preamble. His credit score is 520. He's maxed out 4 credit cards, total balance of $47,000. He's 3 months behind on his mortgage, 2 months behind on his car payments. And he slid another paper across. He withdrew $15,000 from his 401k 6 months ago. Paid the early withdrawal penalty. That money is gone. I stared at the numbers. Where did it all go? I don't know yet, but someone doesn't rack up $50,000 in credit card debt and drain their retirement on medical bills or car repairs. This is addiction money. Gambling, drugs, something. He pulled out another sheet. And this is interesting. 3 weeks ago, the day before your accident, he took out a $25,000 personal loan from one of those predatory lenders. 29% interest. Dear God, Mrs. Washington, I think your son is desperate. And desperate people do desperate things. He looked at me over his glasses. The question is, do you want to keep digging? Because what we find might get worse. Yes, I said without hesitation. I need to know everything. Robert sent me photos that night. Marcus leaving his house at 8 a.m., dressed for work. But instead of heading to his office in Altamont Springs, he drove south on I-4, got off at the Lee Road exit, pulled into a strip mall. The photo showed him walking into a place called Lucky Dragon Gaming. I Googled it. A legal gambling parlor disguised as an internet cafe. The kind of place where you could lose your entire paycheck on slot machines that weren't supposed to exist. Robert's text he was inside for 2 hours. Came out looking upset. We'll continue surveillance. The next photo came at 1 p.m. Marcus at a sports bar called Scores, meeting with a man I didn't recognize. White guy, late 40s, wearing a tracksuit and gold chains. They sat in a back booth. The man did most of the talking. Marcus kept his head down, nodding. Robert don't know who the other man is yet. Running facial recognition. Will update. At 6 p.m. Marcus pulling into his driveway. Chloe coming out to meet him. Even from the distance of the photo, I could see she was upset. Hands on her hips. Pointing at him. He kept his hands up, palms out, like he was trying to calm her down. That night, Robert called. The man at the sports bar is Thomas Richardson. Goes by Big Tommy. He runs an illegal gambling operation out of several locations around Orlando. Poker games, sports betting, loan sharking. He's been arrested 4 times. But never convicted witnesses tend to disappear or change their stories. My hands went cold. My son is involved with criminals? Looks that way. I'm going to keep watching, but Mrs. Washington, I think you need to consider going to the police. If Marcus is into Big Tommy for money, and he can't pay. Robert's voice got gentle. These aren't people who accept excuses. They collect debts, one way or another. Just keep watching, I said. I need more. Robert's investigation uncovered this through interviews with Marcus's friend Deshawn, who felt guilty about introducing Marcus to gambling. It started 3 years ago. Memorial Day weekend, 2020. Deshawn had invited Marcus to his birthday party at the Hard Rock Casino in Tampa. Marcus had said no at first. Man, I don't gamble. That's not my thing. It's not gambling, it's entertainment, Deshawn laughed. We're just gonna have some drinks, play a little blackjack, have fun. It's my birthday. Come on. Chloe had encouraged him to go. You never do anything fun anymore. Go with your friend. I'll watch Lily. So Marcus went. Told himself he'd just have a drink. Maybe play one hand of cards to be social, then head home. He sat down at a $25 minimum table. Bought in for $100. Just to be friendly. And he won. Not just one he couldn't lose. Hand after hand, the cards fell his way. 21, 20, 21 again. The dealer busted. Marcus doubled down and won. Split his aces and won both hands. In 2 hours, he turned $100 into $2,300. He'd never felt anything like it. The rush. The power. The way everyone at the table congratulated him. The way the cocktail waitress smiled and called him, honey. The way his problems, the mortgage payment, Lily's braces, Chloe's student loans suddenly seemed manageable. He cashed out, drove home, put $2,000 in the bank and spent $300 taking Chloe out to a nice dinner. Where'd you get the money? She asked. Won it, he said, grinning. At the casino. Blackjack. She'd laughed. My husband the card shark. Just don't make it a habit. But it was already too late. In his mind, Marcus had found the solution to all their problems. He just needed to go back. Win a little more. Maybe $5,000 next time. Maybe $10,000. Just enough to get ahead. He went back 2 weeks later. This time he bought in for $500. Lost it all in 45 minutes. Told himself it was a fluke. Bad cards. Wrong table. Wrong dealer. Went back the next week. Lost $700. The week after that, won $1,200. See? It worked. He just needed to be patient. Strategic. Within 6 months, he was going twice a week. The wins got smaller, the losses bigger. He'd opened 2 new credit cards. Chloe didn't know about them and was using them to fund his sessions. That's what he called them. Sessions. Like it was therapy. Like it was helping. By the end of 2021, he was $15,000 in debt and lying to everyone he knew. Robert's text came at 11 p.m. You need to see this. Coming to your house. He arrived 20 minutes later with his laptop. Sat at my kitchen table and pulled up a video. This was tonight. I followed Marcus to a house in Pine Hills. The video showed Marcus's car pulling up to a rundown bungalow with bars on the windows. He went inside. The camera zoomed in on the door. Someone had spray painted office over the peeling paint. I couldn't get inside, Robert said. But I know this place. It's one of Big Tommy's poker games. High stakes. Minimum buy-in is $1,000. We watched Marcus's car sit there for 3 hours. When he finally came out, he was stumbling. Another man had to help him to his car. Is he drunk? I asked. Maybe. Or in shock. Robert fast-forwarded the video. Watch this. The video showed Marcus sitting in his car in that driveway for 20 minutes. Just sitting there. Then suddenly he punched the steering wheel. Over and over. Screaming something we couldn't hear. He lost, Robert said quietly. Lost big. The next clip showed Marcus driving away, but not toward home. He pulled into a 24-hour Walmart parking lot. Parked in a dark corner and just sat there for 2 more hours. At 3 a.m., he finally drove home. Mrs. Washington, Robert closed the laptop. Your son has a serious gambling addiction. And if he's playing at Big Tommy's level, he's probably into him for 6 figures at this point. Maybe more. How much is 6 figures? $100,000. Minimum. Could be $200,000, could be more. The room spun. My baby boy, my Marcus, owed criminals $200,000? When people owe Big Tommy that kind of money, Robert continued. And they can't pay. He makes examples. I've seen kneecaps broken, wives threatened, houses burned, and if the person has insurance, life insurance specifically, sometimes. He didn't finish the sentence. Didn't have to. You think Big Tommy told Marcus to kill me? For my life insurance? I think it's possible. Or Marcus came up with the idea himself. Either way, you're in danger. Real danger. And you need to make a decision about what to do next. I looked at the photos spread across my table. My son entering illegal gambling dens. My son meeting with criminals. My son drowning in debt. When had I lost him? When did the sweet boy, who cried when I got a paper cut, turn into this stranger who could cut my brake lines? Keep investigating, I said. I need to know how deep this goes. I need to know if he's planning to try again. Mrs. Washington, please. Robert studied me for a long moment. Then nodded. 1 more week. But if we find evidence of another attempt on your life, we go to the police immediately. Agreed? Agreed. The next Sunday, I went to church for the first time since the accident. My arm was still in a sling, my ribs still ached with every breath. But I needed to be there. Needed the comfort of familiar faces and familiar hymns. Sister Marlene gasped when she saw me, rushed over to fuss. Loretta, should you be out? Are you sure you're okay? I'm fine. Needed to see my church family. Pastor Williams gave me a long hug. Told me how much they'd missed me, how many people had been praying. The choir clapped when I took my usual seat. Brother James brought me a cushion for my back. Marcus and Chloe arrived 10 minutes late, slipped into their usual pew. Marcus caught my eye and waved. Smiled, like nothing was wrong, like he hadn't tried to murder me 3 weeks ago. I smiled back. After the service, during fellowship hour, I made my way to the church office. Told Sister Ruth I needed to check on some financial committee business. She unlocked the door for me, bustled off to help with coffee service. I sat down at the computer and logged into the church's account. The building fund that Margaret had started, that I was supposedly in charge of. $1,847,293.47. Nearly $2 million that 3 generations of this congregation had sacrificed to save. Bake sales and car washes and revival offerings. Elderly members leaving their Social Security checks. Young families giving up vacations to contribute. All of it sitting in an account with my name on it. I checked the access history. Someone had attempted to log in 4 times in the past month. Failed password attempts. All from an IP address I didn't recognize. I wrote it down, planning to give it to Robert. Someone had been trying to get into this account. Someone who knew I had access. Someone who knew there was money here. I decided to test Marcus. See what he'd say if I confronted him directly. I invited him and Chloe to Sunday dinner. Just like old times. Made my famous pot roast with carrots and potatoes. Baked a pound cake. Set the dining room table with Mama's good china. They arrived at 2 p.m. sharp. Lily ran to hug me, careful of my sling. Grandma, I missed you. Missed you too, baby girl. You get prettier every time I see you. She beamed. Lily was pure light, hadn't been contaminated by her parents' poison yet. We ate and made small talk. Marcus complimented the roast. Chloe talked about her job at the dentist's office. Lily told me about school, about her friends, about the book she was reading. After dessert, I sent Lily to the living room to watch TV. Then I looked at my son. Marcus, I need to talk to you about something. His fork froze halfway to his mouth. What's up, Ma? The police said my brake lines were cut. That it wasn't an accident. Chloe's eyes went wide. Marcus set down his fork very carefully. Cut? By who? They don't know, but they said it was deliberate. Someone tried to kill me. I watched his face. Watched for guilt, for fear, for any crack in the mask. But Marcus had always been good at lying. He'd learned it from his daddy, who could sell ice to an Eskimo. That's insane, Marcus said. Why would anyone want to hurt you? I don't know. I thought maybe you might have some ideas. His eyes narrowed. What's that supposed to mean? It means the police asked if I had any enemies. Anyone who might want me dead. And I couldn't think of anybody. I paused. Can you? No, Ma, of course not. Everybody loves you, do they? I looked right at him. Because someone cut my brakes. Someone who knew what car I drove, where I parked it, how to disable it without getting caught. That's not random, that's personal. Chloe put her hand on Marcus's arm. Loretta, what are you trying to say? I'm saying it's strange that this happened right after I went to Aunt Margaret's funeral. Right before I found out she left me money. The room went very quiet. How much money? Marcus asked. And there it was, the eagerness he couldn't quite hide. That's none of your concern. I'm your son. Of course it's my concern. What if someone's targeting you because they know about the inheritance? Is that what this is about, Marcus? The inheritance? I was pushing him, seeing how far he'd go. I'm just worried about you, Ma. Are you? Because you didn't seem worried when I was in the hospital for 6 days. Didn't seem worried enough to visit. To call. To check if I was okay. His jaw tightened. I was busy. Too busy for your mother who almost died? I said I was busy. His voice rose. Chloe's hand tightened on his arm. Busy doing what, Marcus? Busy gambling? Busy losing money you don't have? Busy getting further in debt to criminals? The color drained from his face. I don't know what you're talking about. Big Tommy's poker game in Pine Hills. Lucky Dragon Gaming. Sports bets you can't afford. Should I keep going? Chloe stood up. I think we should leave. Sit down, I said sharply. She sat. Marcus's hands were shaking. How do you? Who told you? How much do you owe him? Silence. How much, Marcus? It's under control. How much? $185,000. He exploded. Okay, $185,000. But I have a plan. You're going to steal from the church. It wasn't a question. His face went gray. What? No, I would never. Someone's been trying to access the building fund account. Failed password attempts from an IP address that traces back to your house. Chloe gasped. Marcus looked like he might throw up. Ma, I can explain. Explain what? That you tried to steal almost $2 million from the church that raised you? That you tried to kill me for an inheritance you thought I had? Explain that, Marcus. Please. He stood up, his chair scraping loud against the floor. You don't understand. Big Tommy is going to kill me. He said he'd hurt Chloe. Hurt Lily. I had to do something. I had to. You had to ask me for help. I was shouting now, something I never did. You had to tell me the truth. You had to be honest. Instead of lying and stealing and trying to murder your own mother. I didn't try to murder you, he said, but his voice was weak. You cut my brake lines. I didn't. Don't lie to me. I slammed my hand on the table. The dishes rattled. Don't you dare stand in my house and lie to my face. We stared at each other across the table. This man who had been my whole world for 36 years. This stranger who wanted me dead. Get out, I said quietly. Ma, get your wife and your daughter and get out of my house. And don't come back. You don't mean that. I have never meant anything more in my life. Get out. Chloe grabbed Lily from the living room. Marcus stood there for another long moment. And I saw something flicker across his face. Not remorse. Not shame. Calculation. He was already thinking about his next move. His next lie. His next attempt. He was going to try again. After they left, I called Robert. We need to move faster, I said. And I need you to help me set a trap. Robert came over the next morning with a woman I hadn't met before. Mid-40s, black, professional looking in a pantsuit and low heels. Mrs. Washington, this is Detective Marissa Cole. She specializes in elder abuse and financial crimes. I've told her everything. Detective Cole shook my hand gently, mindful of my sling. Mrs. Washington, I want you to know what you're going through. It's more common than you think. And it's brave of you to take action. We sat in my living room. Robert had his laptop out. Detective Cole had a file folder. Here's the situation, she said. Everything you've told Robert, everything he's documented, it's compelling. But it's not enough for an arrest. We need Marcus to explicitly confess. Or attempt to harm you again, with proper documentation. So what do? We set up surveillance in your home. Audio and video. We get you a wire to wear when you interact with him. And we need him to either confess or make another attempt, which we'll stop before you're in any real danger. You want to use me as bait. I want to give you protection while gathering evidence. That will stand up in court. But yes, essentially. Robert leaned forward. I also think we need to look into Big Tommy. If Marcus is telling the truth about being threatened. If Big Tommy is the one who suggested killing you for insurance money, then Tommy's just as guilty. Maybe more so. Detective Cole nodded. We've been trying to build a case against Richardson for years. Witnesses keep disappearing or refusing to testify. But if we can get him on tape, threatening Marcus, threatening you or your granddaughter, that might be the break we need. So we're setting up 2 traps, I said. One for Marcus, one for Big Tommy. Exactly. Over the next week, they turned my house into a surveillance station. Cameras disguised as smoke detectors. Microphones hidden in picture frames. A panic button installed under the kitchen table. Detective Cole even gave me a necklace with a tiny camera in the pendant. We'll be monitoring everything 247, she said. You're never alone in this. The second you feel unsafe, you hit that button and we're here in under 3 minutes. They also wired Marcus's house. His car, even got a court order to tap his phone. All of it legal, barely, because I was an endangered family member. And he was a suspect in an attempted murder. The evidence we started collecting was damning. Date October 12, 2023. Location Marcus's kitchen, 11:47 p.m. Chloe, she knows. She fucking knows, Marcus. Marcus, she doesn't know anything. She's guessing. Chloe, she said the exact name of the gaming place. She mentioned Big Tommy. How is that guessing? Marcus, she hired someone. A private investigator probably. Chloe, oh my god. Oh my god. They're gonna find everything. The credit cards, the loans, the... Marcus, calm down. Just calm down. Chloe, don't tell me to calm down. You said this would work. You said she'd have the accident. And we'd get the insurance money and we could pay Tommy and start over. But now she knows and we're fucked. Marcus, we're not fucked. We just need another plan. Chloe, another plan? The first plan almost got us both arrested. Marcus, well, what do you want me to do, Chloe? Huh? You want me to let Tommy kill me? Kill you? What about Lily? What happens to her when I'm dead and you're dead? Chloe, there has to be another way. Marcus, there isn't. She has the inheritance money. Margaret left her over $4 million. Chloe, what? You said she said it was just photos and China. Marcus, she lied. I went to the attorney's office, checked the public records. $4.2 million. Plus she controls the church building fund. Another $1.8 million. Chloe, $6 million. Marcus, $6 million. And if she's dead, it all comes to me. We pay off Tommy, keep the rest, move somewhere new. Start over for real. Chloe, how? Marcus, she's on guard now. She knows someone's after her. Marcus, I'll figure something out. Chloe, you better figure it out fast. Tommy gave you 2 more weeks. If you don't have at least $50,000 by November 1st. He said he's coming for Lily. Marcus, he's not touching Lily. I'll die first. Chloe, that's what he's counting on. Date October 15, 2023. Location sports bar parking lot, 2:33 p.m. Tommy, you're 3 weeks late, Marcus. 3 weeks. You know what I do to people who are 3 weeks late? Marcus, I know. I'm working on it. Tommy, working on it. You've been working on it for 6 months. Where's my money? Marcus, my mother. She has money. A lot of it. I just need to. Tommy, need to what? Wait for her to die of old age? She's 68, Marcus. She could live another 20 years. Marcus, the break thing didn't work. She survived. Tommy, obviously it didn't work if she's still walking around. Maybe you should have been more thorough. Marcus, I'm trying. It's just, she's my mother. It's hard. Tommy, you know what's hard? Explaining to my partners why I let some degenerate gambler owe me $185,000 and not collect. You know what they think? They think I'm soft. They think I'm letting you disrespect me. Marcus, I'm not disrespecting. Tommy, shut up. Here's what's gonna happen. You have 2 weeks. 2. You bring me $50,000 cash or I start taking payment other ways. Marcus, what does that mean? Tommy, it means that pretty wife of yours. What's her name? Chloe? She could work off some of your debt. Marcus, don't you fucking. Tommy, or that little girl. Lily, 12 years old? That's prime age for certain markets. I know people in Atlanta who'd pay good money. Marcus, if you touch my daughter. Tommy, then get me my fucking money. And Marcus? If you can't handle the mother situation, I can send someone to handle it for you. For a fee, of course. Call it a professional service. Marcus, what kind of fee? Tommy, 20% of whatever you inherit. Plus my original $185,000. That's a good deal, considering I'm taking all the risk. Marcus, I don't know. Tommy, 2 weeks, Marcus. November 1st. Either you bring me cash or we come to a new arrangement. Your choice. Detective Cole played these recordings for me in my living room. When they ended, I couldn't speak. Couldn't move. My son, my baby, had just been offered a hitman to kill me. And he'd said, I don't know, instead of, absolutely not. There's more, Detective Cole said quietly. She played another file. This one was Marcus calling someone, a hushed conversation at 1 a.m. Yeah, it's me. I need your help with something. No, not gambling. Something else. Something serious. I need someone to look like an accident. Like a break-in or a robbery or... Yeah. How much? Jesus. Okay. Let me think about it. I'll call you back. Who was he calling? I asked. We're still tracing the number. But Mrs. Washington, we have enough to arrest him right now. Attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, fraud. He's looking at serious prison time. No, not yet. I looked at Robert, at Detective Cole. If we arrest Marcus now, Big Tommy walks. He gets away with everything, the illegal gambling, the threats against Lily. The attempted murder for hire. I want them both. I want everyone who tried to hurt my family to pay. That's risky, Robert said. Every day we wait is another day Marcus might try something. Then we don't wait. We give him an opportunity. We set it up so he makes his move. Big Tommy makes his move, and we catch them both. Detective Cole studied me for a long moment. What did you have in mind? I took a breath. I'm going to pretend to have a heart attack. At church. In front of everyone. Marcus will think it's the pills finally working. He'll think I'm dying. And when he comes to the hospital. I looked at her. Can you make it look real? Make the doctors think I'm actually in critical condition? We can set it up at Orlando Regional. Dr. Chen in the ICU is one of ours. He works with us on domestic violence cases, elder abuse. He can admit you, put you in a private room. Make it look like you're on your deathbed. And then we wait. Marcus will think I'm about to die. He'll talk to Big Tommy. They'll make plans. And we'll record everything. Robert shook his head. Loretta, if you do this, there's no going back. Your son will know you set him up. Your relationship will be over. Our relationship died the day he cut my brake lines. I felt tears prick my eyes but didn't let them fall. All I'm doing now is making it official. The performance, Sunday, October 22nd. I got to church early that morning. Wore my best dress, the royal blue. One that Chloe had always said made my skin glow. Did my makeup carefully, even though it would be ruined soon. Wanted to look good for what might be my last Sunday at First Baptist for a while. The sanctuary filled up. I took my place with the praise team. Sister Marlene gave me a hug. Told me how happy she was to see me up there again. You sure you're up for this, sugar? We can have someone else lead if you're still hurting. I'm fine, I said. I need this. Marcus and Chloe arrived right as service started. Marcus caught my eye, gave me a little wave. I smiled back. Pastor Williams led us in prayer. The choir sang. Collection plates went around. Everything normal, everything the way it had been for 40 years. Then it was time for the praise team. I stood up, walked to the front, took the microphone. 300 faces looking at me with love and trust. We started with Amazing Grace. My voice was shaky at first, but then it steadied. I closed my eyes and sang like I was singing to God himself. Like this might be my last chance. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound. During the second verse, I clutched my chest. Gasped. The microphone fell from my hand with a screech of feedback. I stumbled, grabbed at the podium, missed. Sister Marlene screamed. Someone shouted, "Call 911." I hit the floor hard, had to make it look real, and the pain in my still healing ribs made me cry out for real. People rushed forward. Brother James loosened my collar. Someone put a jacket under my head. Sister Marlene was crying, praying loud, "Jesus, please, not Loretta, please Jesus." I let my eyes roll back. Made my breath come in little gasps. Not too dramatic, needed it to look like a real heart attack. Through slitted eyes, I saw Marcus push through the crowd. He knelt beside me, and for just a second, I thought I saw concern on his face. Then his hand went to my neck, checking my pulse. And I saw his eyes. They were calculating, measuring, wondering if this was it, if he was finally going to inherit. Ma? Ma, can you hear me? I didn't respond, just let my body go limp. The ambulance arrived in 8 minutes. Paramedics swarmed in with equipment, asking questions. They loaded me onto a stretcher, started an IV, put an oxygen mask over my face. As they wheeled me out, I saw Marcus talking on his phone. Caught just a fragment. Think she's really dying this time. Perfect. Doctor. Chen was waiting when they brought me in. He played his part perfectly, barking orders at nurses, looking grave. Telling the paramedics to prep the crash cart just in case. Mrs. Washington, can you hear me? You've had a cardiac event. We need to run some tests. He winked at me when no one else was looking. They hooked me up to monitors. Put in more IVs. Drew blood they wouldn't actually test. Made everything look critical while keeping me completely safe. Detective Cole came in dressed as a nurse. Family is in the waiting room. Your son Marcus and his wife. They want to know your status. Tell them she's stable but critical. Drive. Chen said loudly enough for anyone in the hallway to hear. Next 48 hours will tell us if she'll make it. Marcus was allowed in 20 minutes later. He came alone. Chloe had taken Lily home. Didn't want her to see her grandmother like this. He stood at the foot of my bed, looking at all the machines, the tubes. The monitors showing my unstable heartbeat. Oh, Ma, he whispered. I kept my eyes closed. Breathed slowly, like I was barely hanging on. He came closer, took my hand, and said something that made my blood run cold. I'm sorry it had to be this way. Not, I'm sorry you're sick. Not, please get better. I'm sorry it had to be this way. Like he'd made a choice. Like this was the result of something he'd done. He stayed for 10 minutes, then left to make a phone call. Detective Cole, still in her nurse disguise, followed him. The recording she brought back was damning. Phone recording, Marcus to unknown number. Date October 22, 2023, 8:47 p.m. Marcus, it's happening. She had a heart attack at church. She's in ICU. Doctor says next 48 hours are critical. Unknown, the pills worked? Marcus, I guess so. I've been putting them in her tea every time I visit for the past month. Small doses, like you said. Unknown, good. If she doesn't make it, don't call me again. You were never a client. We never met. Understood? Marcus, what about the money? If she dies, I still owe you the $10,000. Unknown, once you inherit, you'll pay. But Marcus? If you try to skip out on me. Marcus, I won't. I swear. You'll get your money. Unknown, good. And sorry about your mom. I'm sure she was a nice lady. Marcus, yeah, she was. I listened to that recording in my hospital bed. And felt something inside me die. Not my body that was fine, healthier than I'd been in years. But some last little piece of hope that maybe Marcus could be redeemed. Maybe there was some good left in him. That piece was gone now. Who's the unknown number? I asked. Detective Cole checked her notes. Still tracing it, but whoever it is, they sold your son poison. And coaching on how to administer it without detection. That's conspiracy to commit murder. What about the tea? Did you find anything? We searched your house this afternoon, had a warrant based on probable cause. Found a bottle of tea in your refrigerator, the kind you drink every night. Sent it to the lab. Results should be back tomorrow. Robert came in around midnight. Big Tommy just got a call from Marcus. Marcus told him you're dying, that he should have the inheritance in about a week. And asked if the $50,000 payment could wait until then. What did Tommy say? He said no. Payments due November 1st regardless. If Marcus doesn't have it. Tommy's sending his people to visit Lily at her school. My hands clenched into fists. They're threatening a child. We have it on tape. Once we bring them all in, child endangerment gets added to the charges. Robert sat in the chair next to my bed. Loretta, we have enough. More than enough. Marcus confessed to poisoning you. We have him on tape. Talking about your inheritance, about owing money to a hitman. We have Big Tommy threatening your granddaughter. We can end this tonight. Not yet. Why not? Because I want to look my son in the eye when he finds out I'm not dying. I want him to know that I heard everything. I want him to see exactly what he's lost. Robert and Detective Cole exchanged glances. When? Cole asked. Tomorrow. Tell Marcus I've taken a turn for the worse. Tell him he should come say goodbye. Get Chloe too. And, I paused. Tell Big Tommy that Marcus won't be able to pay. See what he does. Loretta, that's dangerous. You'll be there. You said I'm never alone in this. Detective Cole sighed. You're one stubborn woman, you know that? I'm a mother whose son tried to murder her. Stubbornness is all I've got left. Dr. Chen came to my room looking appropriately grave. Detective Cole had brought in backup 3 undercover officers in the hospital. 2 more in the parking garage. Everyone was in position. We called your son, Drive. Chen said. Told him you're fading fast. He's on his way. I sat up in bed. I'd been lying down for hours and my back hurt. How'd I look? Like you're dying. He adjusted the monitors to show concerning vital signs. When he gets here, just lie still. Let me do the talking. Marcus arrived at 4:32 p.m. He'd brought Chloe this time. Both of them looked tired, stressed. Marcus's eyes were red like he'd been crying. Or like he'd been up all night worrying about money. Dr. Chen met them outside the room, and his voice carried through the door. Mr. Hart, I'm afraid your mother's condition has deteriorated significantly. Her heart is failing. We've done everything we can, but... He paused dramatically. I think you should say your goodbyes. She might not make it through the night. Chloe gasped. Marcus's face crumpled. They came into the room. Marcus took my hand, and I kept my eyes closed, my breathing shallow. Ma, he whispered. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry for everything. Was he sorry I was dying? Or sorry he'd killed me? Chloe stood at the foot of the bed, crying softly. She was such a good woman. Such a good grandmother to Lily. She left me a voicemail, Marcus said, his voice breaking. Last week. Said she loved me. Said she was proud of me. Said no matter what happened, I'd always be her son. He wiped his eyes. How am I supposed to live with this? With what? Chloe asked. Marcus didn't answer. Just squeezed my hand tighter. They stayed for 20 minutes. Made small talk with the nurses. Discussed arrangements in hushed voices. When do you think? Should we call a funeral home now or wait? What about the church? I listened to them plan my funeral and felt nothing but cold, hard resolve. After they left, Detective Cole came back in. They're heading home. We have people following them. Good. Now call Big Tommy. Tell him Marcus's mother is dying and he's about to inherit. See if Tommy shows up to collect. Loretta, please. She made the call. Robert burst into my room. They're coming. Marcus and Big Tommy. Tommy called Marcus, said he wanted to pay his respects to the woman who was making him rich. Marcus tried to put him off, but Tommy insisted. They're 3 minutes away. I sat up. Get everyone in position. The next few minutes were chaos. Dr. Chen rushed in with actual security. Detective Cole got into position outside the room. Robert stood in the corner with a camera, recording everything. And I lay back down, closed my eyes, and waited. I heard them before I saw them. Heavy footsteps. Multiple people. The nurse at the desk trying to stop them. Sir, visiting hours are over. I don't give a fuck about visiting hours, a rough voice said. Big Tommy. That's my boy's mama in there. I'm seeing her. My door opened. 3 sets of footsteps. Marcus, Chloe, and Big Tommy. Jesus, Tommy whistled low. She looks half dead already. Tommy, please, Marcus hissed. Show some respect. Respect? Tommy laughed. Boy, you've been poisoning her for 6 weeks. Little late for respect. I didn't, Marcus started. Don't lie to me. I've got your texts. The pills are working. She's getting weaker. You think I'm stupid? Silence. Here's what's gonna happen, Tommy continued. When she dies, and she better die in the next 48 hours, you're signing over 30% of that inheritance to me. Not 20%. 30%. Call it a late fee. Tommy, that's not what we agreed. We agree to whatever the fuck I say we agree to. You understand me? Yes. Good. Now where's the paperwork? Insurance documents, will, all that? At her house. In her desk. Then what are we doing here? Let's go get it. She's not dying any faster with us standing around watching. They turned to leave, and that's when I opened my eyes. Actually, I said, my voice strong and clear, I'm not dying at all. The revelation. You should have seen their faces. Marcus went white, like all the blood drained out of him at once. Chloe screamed. Actually screamed. Big Tommy froze, his hand going to his waistband where I knew he kept a gun. Don't. Detective Cole stepped into the doorway, badge out, weapon drawn. Orlando PD. Hands where I can see them. The room exploded into motion. 2 officers rushed in from the hallway. Robert kept filming. Dr. Chen hit the panic button to seal the ward. What the fuck? Tommy spun, looking for exits. There weren't any. I sat up fully, pulled off the oxygen mask, yanked out the fake IVs. Surprise. Marcus stared at me like I was a ghost. But, the doctor said, the doctor works with the police, baby. This whole thing was a setup. Setup? His voice came out strangled. For the past week, I've been recording everything. Every conversation, every phone call, every threat. I looked at Big Tommy. Every time you threatened my granddaughter. Tommy's face went hard. You don't have shit on me. Detective Cole held up her phone, played the recording, that little girl. Lily, 12 years old? That's prime age for certain markets. I know people in Atlanta who'd pay good money. Tommy's jaw clenched. That's entrapment. That's you threatening to sell a child. That's child trafficking conspiracy. That's 20 years minimum, Tommy. More officers flooded in. They got Tommy in handcuffs. First he fought, swearing, spitting, until they forced him to the ground. Chloe collapsed into a chair, sobbing. Marcus just stood there, looking at me. Ma, he whispered. Please, I can explain. Explain what? I stood up from the bed. Explain how you cut my brake lines. How you poisoned my tea. How you hired someone to help you kill me. How you were going to steal from our church. Which part do you want to explain, Marcus? I was desperate. Big Tommy was going to. Big Tommy was going to what? Kill you? And your solution was to kill me instead? I walked toward him. Every step was like walking toward a stranger. I would have helped you. If you'd told me the truth, if you'd asked for help. I would have given you every penny I had. I couldn't. You couldn't ask? Or you couldn't stop long enough to remember. I'm your mother? That I love you? That I would have done anything to save you except die? He reached for me. I stepped back. Don't touch me. Ma, please. Marcus Hart, you're under arrest, Detective Cole said. She read him his rights while putting him in handcuffs. Attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder. Elder abuse, attempted grand theft, fraud. Okay, I get it. Marcus was crying now, ugly sobs. Ma, please, don't let them. Don't let them what? Arrest you for trying to kill me? I felt my own tears coming. But wouldn't let them fall. Not yet. Not in front of him. You made your choices, Marcus. Now you live with them. They took him away. Took Chloe too. She was an accessory, knew about the poisoning, didn't report it. Took Big Tommy, who was screaming threats. That would add more charges to his already long list. When they were gone, when it was just me and Detective Cole and Robert and Dr. Chen, I finally let myself cry. 40 years of being a mother. 40 years of love and sacrifice and hope. Gone. All gone. Robert put his arm around me. You did the right thing. Then why does it feel so wrong? Because he's your son. That doesn't stop just because he's a criminal. I cried until I couldn't cry anymore. Then I washed my face. Got dressed in real clothes and let Detective Cole drive me home. It was 2 a.m. when I walked into my house. Sat on my couch, looked at the pictures on the mantel. Marcus through the years, smiling. Laughing, looking like a good man. I took every single picture down. Put them in a box. Sealed it up. Shoved it in the back of my closet. Then I called Pastor Williams. Loretta? It's 2 in the morning, are you? I need to talk to the church, I said. This Sunday. I need to tell everyone what happened. They deserve to know the truth. A long pause. Are you sure? I'm sure. Then you'll have the floor. Sunday, October 29th, First Baptist Church. I didn't sleep Saturday night. Kept going over what I was going to say, how I was going to say it. How do you tell 300 people that one of their own tried to murder his mother? That the boy they'd helped raise, the young man who'd been their youth pastor, had fallen so far. Sunday morning came too bright, too normal. The sun didn't care about my broken heart. I got to church early. Pastor Williams was waiting in his office. You ready for this? He asked. No, but I'm doing it anyway. Loretta, you don't have to. We can handle this quietly. Quietly? Marcus was going to rob this church of almost $2 million. The congregation deserves to know. I took a breath. And I need them to know it wasn't their fault. They loved him right. He chose wrong. Pastor Williams hugged me. You're one of the strongest women I've ever known. The sanctuary filled up. I watched from the side door as people came in, laughing, greeting each other, so happy and normal and unaware that their world was about to tilt sideways. Sister Marlene saw me and waved. Brother James gave me a thumbs up. Deacon Patterson nodded and smiled. In 20 minutes, I was going to break all their hearts. The service started normally. Opening prayer, hymns, collection. Pastor Williams gave a short sermon about truth and grace. And I wondered if he'd planned it or if God had given him those words knowing what was coming. Then he said, before we close, Sister Loretta has asked to speak. I want you all to listen with open hearts. What she has to say isn't easy. I walked to the podium. 300 faces looking at me with love and trust. I gripped the sides of the podium to keep my hands from shaking. Thank you all for being here. For being my family for 40 years. What I'm about to tell you. Some of you won't believe it. Some of you will be angry. That's okay. You have a right to be. I took a breath. My son Marcus was arrested on Tuesday night for attempting to murder me. The sanctuary erupted. Gasps, shouts, someone screaming, no. Sister Marlene's hand flew to her mouth. Please, I held up my hand. Please let me finish. The noise died down to shocked murmurs. 6 weeks ago, someone cut the brake lines on my car. I had an accident. I almost died. The police investigated and found that the brakes had been deliberately sabotaged. I showed the first slide on the screen behind me the police report, the photo of the cut brake line. For weeks, I didn't want to believe it was Marcus. I couldn't imagine my own son would want me dead. But then I hired a private investigator. Next slide, surveillance photos of Marcus at the illegal gambling den. My son has a gambling addiction. He owes $185,000 to a loan shark named Thomas Richardson, also known as Big Tommy. More photos. Marcus at the poker game. Meeting with Big Tommy. The sports bar conversations. When I wouldn't die from the car accident, Marcus tried another method. He's been putting poison in my tea. Small doses. Trying to give me a heart attack that would look natural. The lab report went up on screen. The congregation was silent now, horror struck. And when that wasn't working fast enough, when Big Tommy started threatening Marcus's daughter, my granddaughter Lily, with human trafficking if he didn't pay. My voice broke. I steadied it. Marcus planned to rob this church. The building fund that my aunt Margaret started, that you've all contributed to for 15 years. Marcus tried to access it. $1.8 million. He was going to steal it to pay his gambling debts. Now the congregation was angry. I heard shouts, curses, Deacon Patterson standing up red-faced. The police have arrested Marcus. They've arrested his wife Chloe, who knew about the poisoning. And they've arrested Big Tommy and 3 of his associates. I showed the final slide, Marcus's mugshot. The silence was deafening. I know some of you are angry at him. Some of you are angry at me for turning him in. But I need you to understand. Tears ran down my face now. I didn't wipe them away. I didn't do this for revenge. I did it because my son was going to hurt people. He was going to rob this church, steal your sacrifices, your offerings. The money you saved to build something beautiful for God. And I couldn't let that happen. Sister Marlene was crying. Brother James had his head in his hands. Marcus made his choices. He chose gambling over family. He chose theft over honesty. He chose murder over asking for help. I wiped my eyes. And now he's going to pay for those choices. The prosecutor says he's looking at 15 to 25 years. Someone in the back shouted, "Good. He deserves it." Maybe, I said quietly. But he's still my son. And I'll spend the rest of my life wondering where I went wrong. What I could have done differently. How I could have saved him before he fell this far. Pastor Williams came up beside me, put his hand on my shoulder. But I also want you to know, I continued, that the church's money is safe. Every penny of it. And I took a deep breath. I'm going to make a donation. My Aunt Margaret left me $4.2 million. I'm giving half of it, $2.1 million, to First Baptist for the building fund, so we can finally build our new sanctuary. The congregation erupted again, but this time in shocked gratitude. People were crying, praising God, shouting, "Hallelujah. I'm doing this because this church saved me when my husband died. This church raised my son when I was working 3 jobs and couldn't be there. This church loved us both. My voice cracked. And even though Marcus betrayed that love, I won't. You're my family. You've always been my family. I stepped down from the podium. Immediately I was surrounded, people hugging me, crying with me, praying over me. Sister Marlene held me so tight I couldn't breathe. Deacon Patterson kept saying, "Bless you, sister. Bless you." But through the crowd, I saw one little face. Lily. She was sitting in the back pew with Chloe's sister, who had temporary custody. 12 years old, tears streaming down her face. Watching her grandmother be loved by 300 people while her parents sat in jail. I pushed through the crowd and walked to her. "Grandma," she whispered. I knelt in front of her. "Hey, baby girl. Did my daddy really try to hurt you?" I could have lied, could have softened it, but Lily deserved the truth. "Yes, honey, he did." "Why?" "Because he made some bad choices. And those choices trapped him, and he thought the only way out was to do something even worse." "Is he ever coming home?" I pulled her into my arms. "Not for a long time, baby. Not for a long time." She sobbed into my shoulder, and I held her while she cried for the daddy she'd lost, the mother who'd let it happen, the family that had imploded. When she finally pulled back, she looked at me with those big brown eyes. "What's gonna happen to me?" "You're coming home with me, if you want to. Your aunt too, until we sort out custody. But you're not alone, Lily. You've got me. You've got this whole church. We're your family now. Promise?" "I promise." She hugged me again, and I felt something shift. The pain was still there, sharp and deep. But underneath it, something new was growing. Hope. 6 months later, April 2024. The new sanctuary at First Baptist Church was dedicated on Easter Sunday. It was beautiful soaring ceilings, stained glass windows that cast rainbows across the floor. Enough room for 500 people with space to grow. The plaque outside read, "The Margaret Loretta Memorial Chapel. Built on faith, not fear." I stood in the front row with Lily beside me. She'd been living with me for 6 months now. Some days were hard. She missed her parents, asked questions. I didn't know how to answer. But we were making it work. She was in therapy. I was in therapy. We went together sometimes, learning how to be a family. After everything that had broken, Marcus sent letters from prison. I didn't read them at first. Couldn't bear to. But after 3 months, I opened one. "Dear Ma, I don't expect you to forgive me. I don't deserve forgiveness. What I did was unforgivable. I tried to kill you. My own mother. The woman who sacrificed everything for me. I think about that every day in here. About who I used to be, who I became, how far I fell. I wish I could say I don't remember doing it, that I was someone else. But that would be another lie. And I'm done lying. Gambling destroyed me. Not all at once, but slowly, like water wearing away stone. Every bet, every loss, every lie chipped away at the man you raised until there was nothing left but addiction and desperation. Big Tommy told me I could fix everything if I just got rid of you. Made it sound simple, logical, like a business decision. And I was so far gone that I listened. "I'm sorry, Ma. I'm so sorry. Not because I got caught. Because I did it. Because I looked at the woman who gave me life and saw only a problem to be solved. I'm in a program here. Gambling addiction recovery. It's helping, I think. Helping me see how twisted my thinking got. But it doesn't change what I did. Tell Lily I love her. Tell her I'm sorry I won't see her grow up. Tell her to learn from my mistakes, to ask for help. Before it's too late, to choose honesty even when it's hard. And Ma, if you never want to hear from me again, I understand. You gave me everything, and I threw it all away. I love you. I'm sorry, Marcus." I read that letter 5 times. Cried through every reading. Then I wrote back, "Marcus, I got your letter. All of them, actually. I just wasn't ready to read them until now. I'm not going to tell you it's okay, because it's not. What you did nearly killed me. Not just physically, emotionally, spiritually. You broke something in me that I don't know will ever fully heal. But you're my son. That doesn't change, even when everything else does. I can't visit you. Not yet. Maybe not for a long time. But I'll keep reading your letters. And when you get out, and you will get out someday, we'll see where we stand. Lily is doing well. She misses you. She's angry at you. Both things are true. I'm helping her understand that people can be loved and flawed at the same time. That's the hardest lesson any of us learn. Your father would be heartbroken by what you've done. But he'd also tell you that no one is beyond redemption. That grace is real. That change is possible. I'm trying to believe that too. Get help, Marcus. Real help. Not just for the gambling, but for whatever darkness inside you thought killing your mother was a solution. And when you've done the work, when you're really ready to be the man you once were, or better, the man you could be, maybe we can try again. But it starts with you. Not me. Mom. Present day, final scene. It's Sunday again, the 1-year anniversary of Marcus's arrest. I stand at the front of the sanctuary, our beautiful new sanctuary, and look out at faces I've known for decades. My church family. My real family. Lily is in the second row, sitting with her youth group friends. She caught my eye and smiled. Just a small smile, but it's there. Pastor Williams is getting ready to introduce me. The congregation thinks I'm just going to give a testimony about the new building, about God's faithfulness. They don't know I have news. Before Sister Loretta speaks, Pastor Williams says, I want to remind us all of where we were a year ago. Of the pain, the betrayal, the fear. And look at where we are now. Look at what God has built from those ashes. He gestures to me. I stand, walk to the podium. Thank you, Pastor. And thank you all for being here, for being faithful, for being the family that held me up when my own family fell apart. I take a breath. Some of you know that Marcus has been in prison for almost a year now. That he's been writing me letters, doing the work, trying to heal. I pause. Last week, the prosecutor called me. Marcus's lawyer negotiated a deal. If Marcus testifies against Big Tommy and the rest of the gambling ring, if he helps them shut down the operation that's been preying on people across 3 states, I feel tears coming but push through. Marcus's sentence will be reduced from 20 years to 8. With good behavior, he could be out in 5. The congregation is silent, processing. I know some of you think that's too lenient, that he should pay the full price. And I understand that. I do. I look at Lily, but I also know that mercy is real. That people can change. That my son is more than the worst thing he's ever done. Someone in the back, I think it's Brother James, says, Amen. So I'm asking this church to do something hard. When Marcus comes home, in 5 years or 8 or however long it takes, I'm asking you to give him a chance. Not to forget what he did. Not to pretend it didn't happen. But to give him a chance to prove he's changed. I wipe my eyes. Because if we believe in redemption, really believe in it, it has to mean something. It has to be real. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. Pastor Williams stands beside me. What Sister Loretta is asking, he says, is what Christ asks of all of us. To love the unlovable. To forgive the unforgivable. To believe that no one is beyond saving. He looks at the congregation. Can we do that? For a long moment, no one speaks. Then Sister Marlene stands. I can try. Deacon Patterson stands. Me too. One by one, people rise. Some crying, some angry, but all standing. All saying yes. Not because Marcus deserves it. Because that's what family does. After service, Lily and I walk to the car together. She's quiet, thinking, Grandma? Yes, baby? When Daddy comes home, will you let him visit us? I unlock the car, help her in, buy myself time to answer. Honestly, I don't know yet, but we have 5 years to figure it out. 5 years for him to prove he's really changed. 5 years for us to heal. And if he has changed? I start the engine, pull out of the parking lot. Then we'll try. That's all any of us can do. Try. Lily nods, satisfied with that answer. We drive toward home, our home, the little house. Where a grandmother and granddaughter are learning to be a family. Where forgiveness is hard work, not a feeling. Where hope is a choice we make every morning. The sun is setting, painting the sky in oranges and purples. And for the first time in a year, I feel something like peace. Epilogue. 5 years later, Marcus was released on a Tuesday morning in October. I wasn't there to pick him up, had decided that was too much, too soon. But I'd sent money for a bus ticket. Sent him my new address. He showed up at my door at 4:00 p.m., thinner than I remembered, gray at his temples. Even though he was only 41. We stood looking at each other across my threshold. Hi, Ma. Hi, baby. Can I? He gestured inside. I stepped back. Let him in. Lily was at school. I'd planned it that way, wanted this first conversation to be just us. We sat in my living room. I'd made sweet tea, set out cookies, old habits. You look good, I said. You too. Happy. I am. Most days. Silence. Then Marcus said, I know this doesn't fix anything. That showing up doesn't erase what I did. But I wanted you to see me. See that I did the work. That I'm not the same person who tried to kill me. He flinched. Yeah, I studied him. 5 years of letters, of therapy. Updates, of small changes I could only read about. Are you still going to meetings? Every day. Will for the rest of my life. And the gambling? Haven't placed a bet in 5 years, 2 months, 14 days. I nodded, sipped my tea. Lily's 17 now, senior in high school, wants to study medicine. His eyes filled. Really? Really? She's brilliant. Gets it from her grandmother. I smiled slightly. She wants to see you. Eventually. But she's scared. I understand. She's scared you'll disappoint her again. And Marcus. I leaned forward. You will not get a third chance. Not with her. Not with me. You understand that? Yes, Ma. One more lie. One more betrayal. One more anything, and you're done. Lily needs stability. She needs people she can trust. Can you be that? He met my eyes. I want to be. I'm going to try. Trying isn't enough. You have to do it. I will. I swear on Dad's memory. I will. We sat there a while longer. Drank our tea. Made small talk about the weather, about his halfway house, about the job. He'd lined up at a construction company. When he left, I hugged him. Just briefly. Just enough. Welcome home, Marcus. Thank you, Ma, for everything. For not giving up on me. I'm your mother. It's what we do. I watched him walk to the bus stop. Watched him get on, ride away. Then I went inside, sat on my couch, and cried. Not from sadness. From release. From the weight of 5 years finally lifting. That Sunday, I testified at church. Told them Marcus was home. Told them he'd be coming to services if they'd have him. Sister Marlene stood again. We said we'd give him a chance. We meant it, so we did. We gave him that chance. And he took it. Day by day, meeting by meeting, honest conversation by honest conversation. It wasn't easy. It wasn't quick. But slowly, so slowly we became a family again. Different than before. Scarred. Careful. But real. And when Lily graduated high school, and Marcus and I and Chloe, who'd served 2 years and been released, all sat together in the audience, and Lily walked across that stage. When she looked at all of us and smiled, that's when I knew, redemption is real, forgiveness is possible, and grace messy, painful, hard-earned. Grace is the most powerful force in the world. If you've been hurt by family, if you've been betrayed by the people you loved most, know this. You have the right to walk away, the right to protect yourself, the right to say no, but you also have the right to hope. To believe in change, to extend grace when someone proves they've earned it. Just make sure they prove it first. Thank you for reading my story. Loretta Mae, Washington.